Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all can join us once again, both for our radio audience here in the South, as well as our online audience joining us through iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could be with us as well. Well, this year has definitely tested us in a lot of different ways, and I think it's really helped us to come to grips with our own mortality. Even without the coronavirus, though, life expectancy in the U.S. has definitely been an issue. But this year in particular, a lot of people are concerned, especially because the coronavirus seems to be really impacting those who are older in age for us, for sure. But how can you be able to not only find balance in your life, but also be able to approach life a little bit differently that you're kind of looking at yourself no matter what age you might be? We're excited to welcome life expectancy expert to our program, Dr. Brian Kennedy. We're going to talk to him not only about some great information that he's been able to find based on the science, but also some practical things that all of us can do. Dr. Kennedy, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Well, look, you've done a lot of research when it comes to the science of aging. As I mentioned, age is definitely one of those risk factors that people are concerned about, and mostly in general, but definitely this year with the coronavirus. What is the current status when it comes to American lifespan and the role that it does play with the pandemic?
Well, the thing is, even before the pandemic, we weren't doing so well in the U.S. The average life expectancy was 39th in the world. We live about 79 years on average, whereas countries like Japan and Singapore, where I am right now, Korea, they can expect life expectancy around 85. And so it's a big difference.
Wow.
And a lot of that comes down to lifestyle choices. And so now we have the pandemic on top of that. And I think most of us know that aging is the biggest risk factor for complications due to coronavirus. But the point I want to make is this pandemic is affecting everybody's aging because it's forcing us to change our lifestyle in unhealthy ways. We're not getting out and exercising as much. We're much more stressed, and that's affecting our sleep. A lot of people are choosing to eat unhealthy diets. They're getting comfort food and fast food and things that are high in processed sugars and not particularly healthy. And so I'm worried that the pandemic is actually accelerating aging.
That's something to think about. We've been hearing a lot on this program, Dr. Kennedy, especially about the lack of sleep, and especially when it comes to what's happening now, where I'm living in Mississippi. They're now shutting down schools again because of an increase in coronavirus cases. So, of course, that means that parents are definitely concerned. Of course, moms in particular have definitely been feeling the brunt of a lot of this. What tips do you have, Dr. Kennedy, when it comes to maybe trying to get better sleep and staying connected during this time that we're dealing with?
Yeah, I have a lot of sympathy. My kids are grown up, but a lot of mothers, a lot of single mothers, too, are having to try to work from home and have kids at home, and it's really tough to manage all those different things, and that's really affecting sleep. And so I think finding ways to reduce your stress are really important. And one thing to say is easy to say, of course, but it is to stay positive. It's easy to get depressed right now, and there is light at the end of this tunnel. I think the data on the vaccine is really encouraging, and I believe that we're going to come out of this pandemic in the not-too-distant future. So that's good. But on top of that, I think there are ways you can take charge of your life and manage your stress, and a lot of those come through mindfulness. And so that could be yoga, it could be meditation. In my case, I go for long runs, and that clears my mind. I think there are lots of right answers, but doing nothing is probably the wrong answer because it's really about becoming aware of the stress you have, and that self-awareness is a big step toward dealing with it. And then you mentioned connectivity, and that's also really important. We're losing those social connections. We've known that's a big factor in the elderly population because they're often living alone and they don't have the internet connectivity that younger people do, and so they get lonely. But the pandemic is causing that to affect everybody, and so we need to find ways to keep connected with our friends and family, and that may be through the computer or safe ways to interact outdoors, but it's really important. I think that one thing that's worth keeping in mind is that, there's diet, there's exercise, there's stress, there's sleep. You need a holistic strategy, and one way to get there might be through looking at this book, Be Your Own Harmonist. It's by Lola Till, and it's interesting because it's not written by somebody like me, some doctor that wants to tell you what to do. It's written by some person who just decided to go on a personal journey toward a healthier lifestyle. And it talks about how she got there and the choices that she made. And you might not make those same choices, that's okay, but it's a nice roadmap to get you to a more sustainable, healthy lifestyle. And so I would recommend having a look at that.
Well, I'll tell you, great book. And I'm so glad you mentioned it. I love to read, so we'll definitely be adding Lola Till's book to the notes for this for those who are joining us through iHeartRadio. Book just came out this year, a great addition for sure. I appreciate you mentioning that, Dr. Kennedy. Any other places our audience can go for more information on ways that they can be able to start looking practically at their life and moving forward?
Yeah, I can't leave without mentioning diet. Americans are just eating too much. And that was before the pandemic, and it's probably getting worse now. And finding ways to cut calories is so important. And the research on fasting is very exciting. So we and others have done fasting studies, and we found that what this does is it improves a number of health parameters. It helps you resist disease. It improves your metabolism, reduces inflammatory pathways, makes you more active, and it's also good in the long term. It helps your stem cells rejuvenate. It repairs damage to your cells with aging. And so finding ways to fast is important. There are a lot of ways to do that. Again, there's many answers to all of these problems, but a lot of people don't want to go long periods of time without eating. And so one option is to go to this fasting mimicking diet by Prolong. This is a 5-day diet that's very healthy and nutritious, but at the same time, it's designed to keep these pathways that are driving aging turned down. So it's kind of a reset button to take you back to a more healthy diet, and hopefully that'll have sustainable effects on long-term health. And if you do something like that or other forms of fasting, I think there'll be a lot of benefits both now and in the future.
Wow. Great information, and we appreciate that. Again, everyone, Dr. Brian Kennedy has been our guest. He's not only a longevity expert, but great with some tips to be able to help you guys to practically be able to start making changes for yourself as you're looking at your life differently, trying to improve your sleep, but also, of course, to live healthily as well. Dr. Kennedy, thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it, and looking forward to having you back on the show again.
Anytime. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, and we thank you, our audience, for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make today amazing. Take care.